before we take a review of the entire?
Oh, yeah, well, we have other things that we haven't done.
We haven't done the entire,
We haven't done the administrative
that's right.
portion of our
Right,
budget yet.
right, administrative and revenue, so. We got it. Might help to learn where we're at based on that.
Where you wanna go? How about general fund expenses and go over administrative? Does that sound okay with you guys?
Chuck is here, so he'll come in when, discuss his, when he's ready. He's issuing some building permits.
Okay.
So, but in the meantime, okay, we'll start up at the top of the budget then.
Oh, yes, planning,
Now look at our,
code enforcement.
Yeah. That's those. That's
under
right.
trustees, guys, I looked under travel, and what we have this year, 500. I think based on previous years and what we're doing, and I don't see anything outstanding right now, to drop that down to 250. Or travel.
What page are we? I'm sorry.
You're on expenses again?
Mm-hmm.
Expenses of.
General
Expenses
fund
and general
expense.
fund.
Starting right at the top.
Okay. So I didn't-
Right at the top.
I got it.
When I was a professor, we normally traveled to 2 meetings a year for a week. And these were generally located 1,000 to 3,000 miles away from our domain. And so, 20 years ago, we were spending, at least $3,000 a year, each member, each faculty member. So, when I see we have $500 for 5 trustees, that's bizarre.
The seminars that
We're
we go to
totally
are very
disconnected
cheap.
from the rest of the world, is what it means.
If we don't use it, it just goes right back into the general fund, right?
Right, it does, yeah.
So I don't.
The
have- we
thing
never-
is there's a lot of things that are held online now. There's what was called webinars. I think Jim, you've
Right.
taken several of those.
Mhm.
I don't know, Kara, you might have taken some. but-
I tried, but.
I mean, they hold a lot of webinars, and we have nothing that's 3,000 miles away. I mean,
No.
the furthest that you would go would be Albany. It'd be anywhere in New York State, and most of this stuff is held. Although there are things that they bring down into the western New York area. You could be Buffalo, East Aurora, down in that area. So you have Southern Tier West out in Salamanca.
Right, yeah.
They hold
I get stuff from them all the time.
But so all
It's
you're
about an
paying
hour
is
away.
mileage.
Yeah, I went there.
Because we're a member of Southern Tier West and stuff, so.
Well, that was my thought. I'm looking at what we've spent in the last 3 years, 77, 176, and 150. I know Roger and I have attended a seminar at $10 a piece. We're not spending thousands of dollars traveling. I'm just making a suggestion. If the board doesn't feel that way, that's fine, but
So has most of these expenses in the past been for mileage? Is that,
What was that, Mike?
most of the expenses have been for mileage?
Yeah, mileage, and sometimes you have slight fees, like these guys went to one that's $10, because we belong to most of the organizations that, we already paid dues to organizations that hold these things, so they have minimal fees for people that are members.
unless somebody has something in the works before this budget's over, that would show me that we're gonna go to 500 or over. I really don't see us.
Well, it was cut from, it was 1,500. Then now it's down to 500. I mean, I don't have a problem leaving it there, because if we don't use it, it just goes right back into the general fund. That's all I'm
It
saying.
was 1,000, and then it's down to 500.
So,
I don't-
it's not like we lose the money, or, you know what I mean?
I think it's fine where it is.
I don't know. There are things I'd like to go to, I just can't, because sometimes they're during the,
Like
the
she
work
said,
week.
it's not- I mean, it's a small amount of money, but if we don't use it, it's in the general fund anyhow, so. It doesn't go.
Yeah.
Well, okay, my thought was this, I'm just trying to make reasonable cuts where we can make reasonable cuts. If everybody feels not that way, that's fine.
Okay, all right. Then we get into the village justice. Again, the personnel is the judge, the two judges, Christine. The overtime is for night court, and you can see back here it's 1,800. I mean, that will be all over the place depending on how long they stay at night. If you want to look back here, it's, you know, as high as 3,200, 2,000, 3,000, 1,390, 1,766.
What are they up to this year?
1823, well, is it, no, 625 through March.
Yeah.
Well,
What's that?
no, mumble.
Yeah, I know you are. Starting to sound like me.
So what's the contractual under that line?
You want to do the contractual?
What does that mean?
Okay, we'll go down there and put up that. We took out the audit. There was an audit in there originally. I had $6,500 in there because we haven't had an audit in, I don't know how many years.
Right.
Probably 3, 4 years, maybe even 5. And that's about what they charged us. Johnson McCoyak does the audit, about
Okay.
$4,200.
Mhm.
Then they have software up there for their parking tickets and for their, they have to log everything into the state, and there's
Okay.
maintenance agreements on those.
Mhm.
You know, and then every once in a while, he's got to get an interpreter up there for people that, you know, Spanish or whatever
Right.
it happens to be.
Yep.
Internally, we try to do it internally. if you
Yeah,
remember.
yeah, we're gonna try to do the audit internally.
Okay.
Because you can do it, and there's actually a form right on the comptroller's website, you can print it out, and it tells you exactly what you need to examine and look at. And then you just tick it off, and then you just provide that to the comptroller's office. And, but you should, every once in a while, have an outside audit look at it.
Sure.
Just to make sure. 'Cause
Mhm.
that's like it's not as in-depth as an outside audit
Mhm.
would be.
Okay.
So that's what that is. And again, we're at 1620, and sometimes those, you have to watch them because there could be timing involved. They may not have paid a bill for a software maintenance or something like that, so I think that's pretty much cut to the bone there.
Rick, before we go to the next area,
Yeah.
trustees' supplies.
Oh, okay.
I'm sorry.
We'll back up. Okay.
We have 500, we used 39, 12, 11, 27, and then 115. Wonder what happened here on expenditures last year that were so high, and do we need to keep it
That's
at
another
500?
one that goes through the
Supplies go
rotation
everywhere.
of mail, postage.
Okay,
So there's postage that will hit that line every once in a while. Again, it's like a wheel, it's just when we reload the machine downstairs,
Oh.
whoever's next on that wheel gets hit with, a $500 charge.
oh,
So sometimes you're in the fishbowl twice in a year, so you get hit with a $1,000 bill.
okay.
And it's hard to tell depending on what the mailings are, a lot of it has to do with, I don't know, Chuck, you send out a lot of stuff out of our mail?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and I get
I
whacked a
know
lot
you
more
do
than...
certified.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
And
like
then-
250 every couple of months.
Yeah.
Oh, mine's
And then we have, the water and sewer bills that go out of there and that kind of stuff, so there's,
No, look on the right spot.
that's what that is.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, yep.
What do water and sewer bills have to do with this?
What is what?
What do the water and sewer bills have to do with the trustees' supplies?
That's postage.
Postage go everywhere. It's
Postage
just,
hits every place.
irrespective
And we're
of-
not charging specific, we do have the capability, but we don't use it. Well, I don't know about our new machine, because we downgraded our machine to save money. So we probably don't. We could charge specifically, like when you go there, you would key in your code, and then the postage, whatever you ran through the machine would go to that code, and then that code would be associated with the building inspector's office, water and sewer, the clerk's office, the trustees, so then you would have a better feel for that, but across the board, everybody gets hit.
So you're spreading it out. per
Yeah,
each year.
you're just spreading out the thing. It's, at the end of the day, it usually comes pretty close when you look at all of the accounts accumulated.
Did a Pitney Bowes this year?
Yeah, we have Pitney Bowes, yep. We had a more upscale machine, but we weren't using a lot of the
Right.
features.
Right.
So in order to reduce, our lease was up, so in order to reduce the fee on the lease, we went to a lower machine.
It does what we needed to do.
Yeah, exactly, and that's what we figured. Probably missing some bells and whistles that we probably weren't using anyway. Right. Okay, you okay in the trustees then? Okay. Then I know, are you guys okay with the contractual on the justice? Okay. Then we can go up here to the supplies. We're just moving up the ladder rather than down, okay? Because we kind of skipped these. And that's what's usually in the supplies. DFT, Verizon, printing costs, clerk's training, and office supplies.
It's pretty bare bones.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty constant there, so it
Yeah.
looks like a pretty good figure, I would say.
You okay? All right. That's it for the justice. Then we have the mayor's area, the salary, supplies.
Now, I see that probably the same thing there.
The travel this year, I didn't go to NICOM. The reason is because, as I promised, if we needed the money for the Chadwick Bay, I was going to give it to them. Plus, I had an accident with my car, so although I registered I was going to go, I did not go. That's why the money is still there.
Okay, well, you couldn't appropriate that money out of your budget line.
I did
So
not
Chadwick Bay.
appropriate it last year. We did not pay it yet, right?
No, but I mean, you can't just appropriate your travel appropriations and reappropriate to pay Chadwick Bay.
Yes, you can. You can move it inside the same budget. You can move up
Yeah.
and down the line.
Well, Chadwick Bay gets actually, well, we've been paying that out of the community development fund in the past. So we never paid out of the general, it's like out of
But you
community
said it was
development.
possible to do it. That's why I left it there.
Yeah, I mean, you're making up for what's in another fund, that's all.
But next year I plan to go to the NICOM meeting, so that's why I left it there.
That's at legislative session or whatever, yeah.
Well, there are three sessions in the year, so I go to at least one.
Mayor, in last year's budget, when we did this, it was still 1,500, same as it is this year. Well, the budget appropriations and what you had spent up to this point last year was 1,500 appropriated, 1,400 at this time last year. And then, looking at this budget this year, on 5/31, it went up to 1,940. Is there any other expenses or receipts out?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear your questions. I'm sorry. Yeah. Where?
Last year at this time, the appropriation for your travel line was 1,500 and you spent 1,400 as of 2/28. So when we did the budget here, you were not over, and then like 2 months after that, actual expenditures 5/31 went up to 1,940. I'm just so we're not going to go over the 1,350 or this year. You only have $52 spent, but last year you went over the appropriated.
I'm not following. What exactly is that?
And he's looking back as
Looking
years
back
in
at
the
previous
past.
years.
I'm just,
Okay.
so, I mean, do we need to appropriate more or
It's,
less based on if you have any large
No, not-
expenditures?
Where are we here?
I don't know. This is
Your
my-
line here.
okay.
Okay.
He's afraid you don't have enough, you have $1,000, he's afraid you don't have enough in there. It's
Or
not for
in
travel.
17 budget.
Or
Oh,
was there-
okay, and
is there something that-
1940. Okay, I understand what you're saying. Well, I'm going to cover the rest if I need more. I just
Okay.
have the number.
I don't think that's a good idea. I think the expenses of the official should be covered. So,
It was my effort to cut and cut and cut, Dr. Barris. That was it. Not trying to make a point at all. The truth is that the one trip to NICOM in Albany, all included without food, is probably about 700. Because I have to pay the hotel, I have to travel and travel back. So that's how much we spent last year. As I said.
Okay, are we all right with that? Okay. The utilities and telephone, we already discussed that, and other lines, we're gonna get DFT in here and see what we can do about renegotiating the new lease.
I
because,
just made that note.
Yeah, because we discussed that, so there's no use beating a dead horse. We all know that this is a ridiculous amount of money, and it hits numerous lines, and it's just, for what we have in this building, really, it's just not worth it. So, so we will do that. And then you get into the treasurer.
I have a question about personnel overtime on the treasurer. I understand that's one person?
Correct.
Is that
Yeah,
right?
that's just when I'm not here. And I'm usually here.
So what does personnel overtime mean?
It's Lori.
It would be Lori that would come in and take minutes.
If Rick is not here, somebody has to
Okay.
take minutes.
That's all it is.
So while we're talking about Lori, she's the receiver of taxes, and she receives $3,000 for that. Is she located on other lines than personnel overtime?
Yeah, that's not overtime.
Well,
That just runs through her personnel line.
what is the major source of her income? Presumably she earns more than $3,000 a year.
No, she gets money.
What? Where's the 3,000 coming from?
It's on, good question. So it's
Her salary is spread treasurer, water, sewer, clerk. So her salary is spread throughout numerous accounts also. There's a distribution associated with all of the people that work downstairs. They're not charged into one line. Like when we get to the legal, you'll see that Dan's
Okay.
salary is not what it's here under law, but part of his goes to general, water, sewer, treasurer. He gets split up too. So there's a certain percentage that each person that works in this building, we work on all of those in those different areas. We do the books for the general water and sewer. We do different things for the clerk. So it's everybody's time is split among those lines.
Okay.
Okay.
It's difficult for the trustees to understand how this is split because we don't have any summary by name of the employee. So, and there's a possibility for
Right, but she's on
abuse
that path of being in
here.
2021.
I've encountered abuse of this
And you still got
multiple lines in many other institutions in which I've worked.
That's not abuse because we have an outside audit every year that checks that the salaries that people are paid are the salaries that are required under contractual agreements.
But the trustees have a duty to be responsible for
Well, if you want to
accuracy.
come to my office, I could give you a
I
breakout
don't want to
of all
come
of
to your
those.
office, I want to discuss it in a public meeting.
Well, I
So-
don't have it. I have it here, but you're going to get confused by it.
I
What-
doubt it.
I don't think so, because it's a very long spreadsheet that even for me gets confusing, so.
Right.
And I've been looking at these things for 13 years, so it's,
So
Let's see if we can
I've been
all
doing
be
this for
confused
50
on
years.
it.
Yeah.
we can do that. We can do it.
You just say,
I'll take you right to the spreadsheet and I'll show you why it's confusing.
So that's not the question. The question is that the trustees are responsible for the accuracy of the reports. And
Okay,
if the
this
audit
is it right here.
finds a discrepancy, then that means that the trustees have failed to do their job.
So
I
if
don't
you look
understand.
here,
Excuse me,
this,
please. I have a need to know what each employee is being paid. So, and I cannot do my job as a trustee if I don't have this information. You're withholding the information. You're preventing
I'm not
me
withholding
from,
anything.
doing
This
my
is-
job. You're preventing the other
This is
trustees from
on
doing
the
their
end
job.
schedule here under totals. If you look across, you could see the person's name, and that's fully loaded salaries on everybody that works in this building.
Okay, but this wasn't provided in hard copies to the,
No, because look how long it is, Mike. I can't print this out on a sheet. It's impossible for me to print out. Because this goes across this far. I mean, it's a long spreadsheet. I can't print this out. If I print this out, it's gonna be so small, you're not gonna be able to see it.
Well, aren't we getting if you look under personnel by title, it tells
Yeah, but
us
that's
every-
not giving it, if he
That's only
wants it
title.
by individual, that's not giving it to you by individual, it's giving you by title.
There's only one person in each title, so it should be pretty,
For who?
not in the fire department or police department.
Right. Yeah,
Or
you're not gonna get that
Can't you
in
just
every
divide it-
department.
Can't you just divide that total amount out if it's eight?
No, because everybody's on
Everybody's
different pay
different.
scales, so you may, like Michelle, we'll take Michelle for example here. Michelle is on step 4 of this schedule. Brian Thomas is on step 6.
Well, unless I'd have the.
Brian Thomas is a cleaner, Michelle is a payroll clerk. There are 2 different lines in the contract, there's 2 different pay scales associated with it, and there's 10 steps associated with each one.
Yeah, like-
Lori's on pay scale 10, so, so those, there's no pay scale associated with me. There's
Can you
no-
somehow put the names and only the last column?
The
So
final?
can
Yeah,
do
I
it?
could do that.
So you
I
can
mean,
do
but
it.
that's gonna be, that's kind of, you have to know that that's the fully loaded salary, which includes everything from longevity, administrative costs for P&A, life insurance, flexible benefit contribution, your deductibles, your health insurance contributions, health insurance expense, FICA expense, pension expense, all of these things are included in that roll-up of the dollars. And I'm more than willing to do exactly what the mayor said. I could hide all of those columns and then just print, these are the people, this is what their total
okay
salary
then?
is, or I could do just what their regular payroll is, because this is what's in the contract. That is contractual
But
wages.
this is not what it cost us. They cost-
Correct, right. That's not the total cost associated with hiring a person. Really, this is the total cost in hire. And even some of this, even this doesn't include some of the accruals, like sick time accruals, vacation accruals, those kind of accruals aren't rolled up into this number. So the number's even higher,
What is longevity?
based on how long you've been here.
Separate stipend.
You get
It's an
a
extra amount.
payment based on how long
Is
you've
it
been.
some percentage or?
No,
Just a
it's
lump sum.
contractual.
So
That's dictated by contract.
what contract? Is it a union contract?
Union.
Yep. All the different unions have different,
Do you belong to a union?
no, but I have a contract.
Okay.
So if he prints that last column, is that gonna be okay?
I would like to see everything.
Print it off.
So, it
Maybe
could
you
be,
could
uh,
send them different paper, like different sheets?
made
you
available on a
can print it,
computer or.
Can you just send this to him?
Maybe
No,
Yes.
I can't send this because
It's too huge.
there's, what would happen if I sent this spreadsheet to anybody?
It would be out of.
There's links to other spreadsheets
Okay.
that it's taking numbers from elsewhere.
Okay.
And then it's linking to the budget, and it's doing a whole bunch of calculations in the background. So if I try to extract this and email it, when you get it, there'll be all kinds of weird
Yeah.
stuff going on.
I could come to the village office and view it on a computer in the village office.
Yeah, that's why I said, you could come to my office anytime.
Okay. Thank you.
Mhm. And then down here, just to go further on that, the reason that it gets even more is if you look here, and this is the breakout of the wages into treasurer, clerk, law, parking, water, sewer, community development, buildings and grounds, civil defense, all of that stuff up above that you see is then being divided further into these things down here, which is what I said, Mike, was you're not seeing a whole person's payroll in any one line. Like me, I'm spread treasurer, clerk, law, no, I'm not in parking, I'm in water, sewer, and community development. Okay? So some portions of my salary go in each one of those buckets.
Thank you.
Uh-huh.
I got one question on the treasury personnel. You budgeted, well,
Okay, yep.
we got $24,000 set aside this year. Is that what?
Okay,
am I looking at that right?
let me get back to my thing here, appropriations. Okay, where are we? The treasurer personnel, okay.
Okay. Just based on past expenditures, 15, 16, you're hovering around that $20,000 mark, $21,000 mark.
Mm-hmm.
And with that $500 overtime that's down here, don't you think we could take a little bit out of that 24,000?
No.
Okay.
What happened is I gotta take you back. You wanna take over? I gotta take you back here because what was happening is I'm making, and you'll see in tonight's budget transfers, the percentages that I had in that spreadsheet that I just took you to were incorrect according to the way payroll is distributing the
Okay.
payroll. So what I did was I added 8,000 to this line.
Right.
Okay, this line for the treasurer, and I subtracted 8,000 from down here. So you'll see that the village clerk line is actually down by about $8,000.
Okay.
Just,
Okay.
Yep.
So all I did was move it to where it needed to be
Okay.
because I just didn't want to make any more budget transfers. There was a flip-flop there, that's
Okay.
all. Okay? And the way I'm adjusting it now is, that's what I'm doing. I'm putting in every time I do a budget transfer, I'm showing you guys, well, I need to transfer money from the clerk and put it in the treasurer's office.
Okay.
Because the distribution that payroll is making is different than what I have in my spreadsheet. So I just did it and I hard-coded it into my program here. I know that gets...
So that'll cover us for next year then?
Correct.
Is that what you're saying?
Right, so like I said, if you look at the clerk,
Yeah.
that went down by 8,000,
Right.
this one went up by about 8,000. So
Okay.
it's, it's a...
So if I would have waited, I would have answered my own question.
Well, no, but I'm glad you brought that up,
Okay.
because I wanted to make sure I told you that,
All right.
because, I knew that thing was going to be a...
A higher number than
Yeah,
anticipated.
because you
Okay.
could see, we're already at 17,000, and I had done 16,681
Okay.
for the adopted budget, okay?
Yep, got it.
Again, the overtime is just,
Right,
we
it's just there.
discussed. Yep,
Okay.
okay. Okay, this is mostly tax rolls. Tax rolls caught, when we get the tax rolls from the county bills us about $4,100 for tax rolls. You can see we're at $6,000 right now.
Right.
And there's office supplies and just,
And you hover around that $6,000 mark anyway.
Yeah, exactly. That's about where we normally come
Right.
out to.
Okay.
Okay? Utilities, again, that's DFT. Everybody, if you look, everybody's line is about that much
Right.
money. Yeah. $300 in contractual, again.
Travel and training.
Yeah, travel and training,
Right.
rather. I just put something in there for
Right.
local seminars. Again, I try to wait until they have something either by webinar, or if it's in the Buffalo area or someplace close, Rochester, and then I'll drive there. Or the county holds them, Southern Tier West, and so they're more local.
Okay.
I
So-
haven't, go ahead.
I'd like to make a comment about that in meetings. So the webinars don't permit personal contact.
Correct.
So when professors attend academic meetings, the most important part is the personal contact.
Mhm.
So, I really think we're missing an opportunity for networking
You're correct.
by
That's right,
attending the webinars.
You're correct.
that's right.
I used to go to NICOM conferences. They hold 2 NICOM conferences for, like myself, and I used to go to one every year, and then the board cut it one year, and then it never got reinstated, so I just,
I did
Yeah.
give it to you once. Oh, you didn't use it.
did you? I don't remember. Yeah, okay.
First
Use
day.
it or
Okay.
lose it.
Yeah.
And we
But
approved
yeah,
it,
there's
yes.
NICOM conferences, and they usually hold those in Saratoga Springs or up in Lake Placid, one or the
Yes.
other. And, you know, you just drive up there.
But you're right, the contacts that you make, you know, people that you talk,
Yep,
it's
you're
really,
absolutely right.
really good, yeah.
Absolutely right. You okay with that?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, then we can move down into contractual. That's what you got. Because we're going to be doing, we have a lot of big the reason that went up like that, I'm going to be using this municipal solutions, because we're going to be doing a lot of borrowing. They're going to be doing a lot of information necessary for those grants that we've gotten. So there's a lot of work behind the scenes that go on with that. Industrial appraisal, those are our normal expenses. What happens is every year, everything that we spend for capital gets added to our appraisal of all of the property and all of the equipment and stuff that the village owns. And what I do is I accumulate all that, I send all that information to industrial appraisals, and they update our appraisal report. I also put on there any deletions that we have. If we scrap a police car or a fire truck or whatever, then those come off. So try to keep that appraisal up to speed. And I think we talked about
Yeah,
it.
we did.
After 10 years, they suggest you have it redone.
Right.
And in the capital side, we do have $14,000 in there to do that. Because after 10 years, they will not certify that those records are correct, because they do get out of whack. Because people, you know, they fail to, like you had a turnover at the street department. I have no idea. I bet you Perry doesn't know that he's supposed to, when they scrap something or they get rid of a piece of
Right.
equipment, that he's supposed to notify me.
Yeah.
Right.
That was in the capital budget. that we
Yeah,
decided.
yeah, there's $14,000 in there. Okay. Certiflex software, that's our software for our financial software. And we have a maintenance agreement with them. If we have problems, we call them, they take care of it. And then our outside audit with Johnson McCoyak. Those are the pieces, parts of that. Again, the reason that it's higher is because we're going to be using a lot more support to do all of the paperwork necessary for these grants. Okay? All right. Then we'll move down into the clerk area. And again, that's, you know, we just went through the payroll. Okay? Then we get into the supplies. You're going to have postage in there. Office supplies, forms, printing, computer maintenance, all of that stuff goes into supplies. And you can see that runs, back a couple of years it was almost 5,000. We're at 3,400 now.
Wonder why we appropriated so little last year, 2,700.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Probably just a cut. Probably made a deep cut there and didn't pay attention to what it was
Yeah, 'cause
really
if you
for.
look back at 15 and 16, they were hovering around the 21, 23 mark, so they figured 27 was safe.
Yeah. And then again, sometimes you get hit with that postage and it and you could have been, but it might have got hit with an extra postage and then throws it out of whack. So,
Utilities or utilities.
you okay with that? Okay. Utilities again is DFT and Verizon Wireless. Actually, I don't think we have any more Verizon Wireless in there. I turned my phone in. I think I was the only one with a phone. I turned it in. a while back, so that's.
Does Brad say he had one? Or police
Yeah,
department had one?
that's in the police
On
budget.
the police budget, okay.
Yep. Again, there's a piece of travel training in there, so, you know, that plus the 300 up above, I think we had 300, right?
Mhm.
Under the treasurer?
Yeah.
300 and 500, so I have $800 that I could, if I wanted to go to NICOM, I have $800 in the budget, so. Okay? Okay, and then contractual, that's a lot of, that's postage and postage machine lease. Most of that is the lease. Okay? Everybody okay so far? Nobody's fallen asleep yet? All right. We'll go to legal. Again, that's just a portion of Dan's salary. Okay. I forget what his salary is. I think it's, what was it, 54?
54.
54,000. So 16.2 comes here. And then you'll see a piece in water, sewer, community development. Supplies, we're over budget there this year. Oh, yeah, the supplies, Dan is actually going to be using a different service than what Sam was using, that apparently is cheaper
Okay.
than the service that Sam was for his legal references and stuff, so it's apparently cheaper.
So whatever they feel comfortable with. If he feels comfortable.
Yeah, exactly, it's something that he's comfortable with, so yeah, it's a matter of preference, I guess. Negotiator fees, that's, again, if you recall, Dan's payroll is, his base is 54, and then he's going to be charging, if he has to do negotiation of grievances and stuff like that, that's an extra charge. So he'll charge us on an hourly basis for those kind of things. Okay. We usually get those grievances settled in-house, but, you know, sometimes they can't do it.
Was the current expenditures up to date based on outsourcing?
Yes,
Okay.
that's, yeah. And again, some of this money that's in here now is, we had contract, I think some of the contracts, bills are in here too. So we were negotiating with all three unions. Okay. And contractual is general code. And what they do is they're a service that any new laws that the village passes, they keep all of the code book up to snuff with all of the new laws, changes to the laws that are currently on the books and that kind of stuff. Okay. Fiscal advisors, they're another group that we use for our bonding as far as going out to market for large bonds. And the large bonds would be for permanent financing and not for BANs. So, and because we have the big project going at the sewer plant and the water plant at the same time, there will be big bonding opportunities here, so we had to put money in there for fiscal advisors. They're going to be a player in all of this stuff. And then our bond attorney in New York. That's another thing. He draws up all of the closing. It's almost like a home closing when you go to bond. They draw up all the paperwork. He sends me a stack of papers about, I don't know, 4 or 5 inches thick. And you go through it, and I have to sign off on all the documents.
Well, it's for each bond?
What's that?
That's for each bond?
For each bond, yeah. Yeah. So when you're, you know, a lot of our bonds are BANs, bond anticipation notes. They're 1-year notes. So every time a note comes due, we have to pay off the note, and then I have to go into the market and borrow again for the difference between what we paid off and what I'm carrying over into the next year. And you can carry a BAN for 5 years. Okay? And every time we go through one of those closings, the bond attorney gets involved. Everybody okay up to that point? Okay. We don't have any of these, we don't have an engineer, we don't have any election expenses.
The election expenses have been transferred to the county Board of Elections within the last 10 years. Previously, it was local.
Right. Yep, we had to pay for the ballots, we had to pay for the people that sit there at the polling places, we had to pay for all that. And now because we hold our elections at the same time as the general election, we don't have to pay anything, because they're there anyway. Then buildings and grounds, that's Brian. Okay, the personnel cost is Brian, the cleaner. And next thing is the supplies, that's the cleaning supplies, plumbing, electrical, stuff, work that we have done at various times, maintenance contracts on our heating, air conditioning, ventilation equipment, village hall.
Generator.
Yep, that's all of that stuff. We'll go over a little more, okay? And the generator.
Does he clean the auditorium of the Opera House?
No.
No.
The Opera
Whole
House
separate
takes care of it
entity.
himself.
Does the Opera House employ someone to do that?
I think they have an outside company come in and do that. I don't know.
Okay,
I don't know.
Thank you.
We don't do it though.
thank you.
They used to have these handicapped kids come in and do it. And they would bring in a whole busload of kids and they would have vacuum cleaners and stuff. And they would,
Like from the resource center or something?
Probably, yeah. Probably that. I haven't seen them in a while, come to think of it. Utilities, again, natural gas we get from Erie County. We're part of a consortium, so we buy contracts, natural gas contracts. It's all managed by Erie County. National Grid, National Fuel Resources, who transports the gas that Erie County puts in the system, so they transport to the burner tip, and then DFT, phone and internet, and Village Hall.
On the utilities, does the Opera House benefit from that? Or do they have their own utility budget?
They have their own utility meter, but we pay it.
We pay for them.
We
Okay.
pay up to a ceiling, which is, we never hit that ceiling.
Yeah,
So they don't, basically, they don't pay utilities. We pay the utility.
thank you.
Uh-huh. 14,000 in contractual. Down there. Pest control, elevator maintenance, dumpster. There's no water on the third floor up in the court, so we have Culligan water up there. The fire suppression system, your system here, that has to be maintained and checked every 6 months. And then plumbing, electrical, heating system maintenance. That looks like it's a little light. I mean, we're at almost 15 now, 16 there. Yeah, so it fluctuates too, so. You okay with the 14?
Yes.
Okay. And then we might as well do the special items, okay? The insurance, this is the total village insurance, all the coverage. Liability coverage, car coverages, everything. You know, it's,
It doesn't cover sidewalks.
no, it does. What do you mean it doesn't cover
Well,
sidewalks?
the property owners are responsible for,
Yeah, but
liability.
we're still, if somebody was to get hurt, they always drag the village into the lawsuit. Because we do, the insurance company, the only way that we could get out of doing that, the insurance company was here at one point and said, the only way you're gonna get out of doing that is if you stop using your snowplow on the sidewalk. And they wanted us to do that, but we didn't. Because we put ruts, when we do the rough cut of the snow plowing of the sidewalks,
Yeah.
people could get hung up in those ruts, and if they trip and fall, they'll sue the homeowner and they'll sue the village.
Okay,
In the insurance company, so we turn it over to the insurance company. The insurance company usually goes in and says, our laws are the adjoining home, the home adjacent to the sidewalk is responsible to get that sidewalk down to bare sidewalk. We do a rough cut. But we always get dragged into it anyway.
thank you.
The biggest thing is the reservoir, because it's a high hazard dam, which is a lot of downstream exposure if it were to breach.
Now, if we were to fix that, the reservoir, is it gonna go down? Is it gonna be?
It might, yeah, it might. I'm not sure how much.
Because obviously, if there is a crack there, that's the biggest problem.
Oh, yeah, that's why we do inspections of that dam.
Right.
Chris does those, he does walk-arounds.
So
And
to
we're
make
supposed
sure-
to keep the side of the dam all trimmed and, so that there's no trees and stuff like that growing out of the side, because those things could
They eat it
breach
up,
the,
yep.
yeah.
Rick and the mayor, when we met with Wally Batoka, and I'd spoken to Sue Paul-Ketty beforehand, I was asking about the dam there. I think one of them, and I'm not sure which one, mentioned, because it was an earthen dam as well, that would be part of it. So, I mean, if we fix the spillway, I'm not sure, that might not
That
affect
has a
it.
concrete core.
Oh, okay,
There's a core that's concrete,
okay,
but it's an earthen embankment
Yeah.
that
Covers that.
encloses the concrete. So there is a concrete core.
okay.
And we do have sensors that are embedded in the concrete, so if there's any movement at all in that wall, we'll know it. We have
Oh, wow.
sensors in there,
That's good to know.
yeah. Yeah, we did a project not too long ago, probably, I don't know, 4 years ago, 3 years ago, where we had people up there working. They gave us access to the west side of the dam to maintain the side of the dam. And they embedded these sensors all over embedded them in the concrete
Mhm.
and in the area around the reservoir. So, yeah, so it's not just soil or whatever, earth. Okay, so I'm assuming a 5% increase in insurance.
It's safe to pay.
Yeah, and I don't know if, and again, that's dependent on your experience. We really haven't had any big claims, knock on wood, against the village, so we've been having some good experience lately, so, that's a good thing. So that keeps your premiums down when you do that. For a while there, we were getting hammered.
Okay, sure.
I know.
Don't jinx it.
I hear you. And then dues and publication, NICOM, which is 4,900 of that number. The chamber and just miscellaneous other things that come through. Let's see, what does that look like back here?
We've been talking a little bit about updating our web page and web stuff. It's going to eventually cost us some money to do this, or at least get some consultant in to get us a decent website. I've been working on some proposals. Where would that money be taken from? What department or what line or?
We could actually pay for that through community development, because it's kind of a community thing.
Okay.
Where you're informing village residents of what's going on in the village, so that would be community development
Okay.
side.
Okay. I was just curious to see where
Yeah.
that would fit into the program.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. And then judgment and claims, what those are is basically deductibles. Some year you have to pay a deductible, other times you don't pay a deductible. Depending on what kind of damage you've had done, you have to pay a deductible, but,
Looks like we haven't paid anything in a while.
yeah, we haven't.
Is it safe to say we can take $1,000 out of there?
I don't know.
Hello?
Once we do, then you know what's gonna happen.
What's that?
Once we do, then you know what'll happen.
Well, but Rick's saying our insurance is covered and we're not gonna get
Well,
sued
no,
for
that's
anything.
who you're paying that to, is the insurance company.
No, I know.
You know, that we've had good experience, but that doesn't mean that you're
Yeah,
not
it
gonna
doesn't.
get hit with a.
That's what we did.
We do have high deductibles, just so that you know. We don't have low deductibles. Like on some of our stuff, we have $10,000 deductibles. So
Oh dear
it's-
me, don't
Yeah.
touch that.
Yeah. That's mostly on building stuff and things like that you pay the
Of
first
course we have,
10,000.
yeah.
Or some lawsuits, sometimes lawsuits we have to pay, depending on what the lawsuit is for, we have to pay 10,000. We've done that before. So that's what that's all about.
Well, we got good juju here, so we could.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. We're
No
on
bad
a
thoughts.
roll here.
No bad thoughts.
No
Good
bad thoughts.
Good juju. Nothing bad's gonna happen.
We got good stuff coming.
What do you want to do?
You know, you could leave it at 3,000 and we could go up to $10,000 in deductibles. I mean, it's a crapshoot.
Yeah, it is. That's why we normally just throw something in there. I mean,
Well, I don't know, I'm just thinking out of
Yeah.
the box, that's all. We haven't done anything since, I mean, we haven't used it in a while, and
Yeah.
I figured $2,000 has been thrown out there for the past couple of years. I mean, it's $1,000.
You
I
want
see
to
no
take it?
problem with that.
Everybody want to take it, or?
We can do 2, I'm okay with that.
Okay.
I would like to stick with the mayor's proposed appropriations.
Of course you would.
Okay. How about,
I don't know, I'm okay with it, like Doug said, we could put 10,000 in there.
I know, yeah, I know.
That's why I'm
Right.
okay with 3.
Yeah, I mean-
I'm okay leaving it at 3.
Okay.
I don't know.
It doesn't matter to me. I'm
So
okay
Carrie,
with,
you're
I'm okay
good
with
with
either.
3?
2,500?
Do I hear 25, 25?
27.5.
Okay, this is one of the items we'll revisit later on. I'd like to see what we end up at the end and,
Okay, so you want to leave it at 3?
$4,000 right on the edge. Yeah, leave it at 3
Okay.
to $4,000 on the edge. We know where we can get it.
Question mark on it.
Yeah.
Again, this is just village properties that we own in other municipalities that we have to pay tax on. Minor stuff. And then we have a $50,000 contingency. Now, that may be someplace you want to,
Now,
Yeah, we all have questions on that.
yeah.
No.
Again, that's, it's money set aside for emergencies.
now there's contingency, I think I asked you that the other day, because I had a question on that too. There's contingency lines for each general fund, water, and sewer. So
Yes,
this does
correct.
not cover all of them, it's just,
This is just in the
Just for
general.
the general,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Right.
I mean, last year we had so many things that we opened the budget again
I know.
and again, and that's why I put it there.
is there a
Yeah, we're at
date
50, went down to
total?
40, and then
Zippo.
Is there what?
I'd be
There's
happy
no-
with
there-
40.
Well, if it's-
No, what happens there, just so that you know, okay, I gotta explain that. I'm glad you brought up that it's 0. It's not 0.
that's what I was gonna say.
What happens is, nothing ever gets charged into the contingency account. That money is actually moved
Around.
as part of our, budget transfers that I do. And I get the board approval to make those transfers.
That's how you move it.
I move money out of the
Oh, okay.
contingency into the account. When there's a big discrepancy and the account can't handle it itself, I have to go to the contingency, and I move out of there to the contingency. So you're gonna always see 0 here.
So how much
There's
of
not
that-
gonna be
How much of
anything.
that 40,000?
Is left, yeah.
Did we eat
Did
up
we
the-
use?
Yeah.
Actually, I got a budget report for you to approve tonight.
They can plug that
So
into
I
space
can
there. That would
probably
be good.
tell you that.
Well, is that our spreadsheets that we got here, Rick?
Yeah. Contingency. I've used all but $15,700 of the 40,000 that was appropriated. So 15,700 is left.
24,300 was what was used
Right.
out of the, this would be the general fund contingency?
This is the general fund, no, just general
Only.
fund, yeah. Yeah, every fund has their own. And normally that contingency, if we're in contract negotiations, that contingency can go up because you don't know what's going to be negotiated, and it usually goes back to.
So you pay
know,
back pay and so
yeah,
forth and so on,
exactly. So you pay back
retroactive
pay. Right,
benefits.
the retroactivity. But that just gives you an indication of how we use that fund.
Would anybody be willing to drop that?
What do we have, 2 months left in the fiscal
Three.
year? 3
This
months
is,
left in
that's
the
through
fiscal year.
February, Karen. What I gave you is through February.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't have through March yet.
Oh, okay, so,
So
all right,
March,
so maybe we
March,
should keep it where it is.
April, May,
Right.
3 months.
If we've got several months left to go.
Yeah, you got 3 months. So you're 75, the budget report that you're gonna see tonight is 75% of the year is done.
Okay.
You still have one more quarter.
That puts the 50 about where it should be then.
Yeah. Again, it depends on how you.
Right, you
spend
never
it,
know.
too. I mean,
Right,
you
it's
know.
true.
You said.
So maybe we should leave it.
How about the person that we need to rehire? Is that gonna come out of anywhere, or we have the money?
That's probably gonna come out of there.
So we're gonna eat it,
Oh, yeah, we're gonna eat that. I mean, more than eat it.
more than that,
Right.
And
We should not
hopefully I
touch
have
it.
enough in the street department to cover the
to cover
remainder.
that.
Yeah.
Because that's it,
Yeah.
it's a
That's
lot
it.
of money.
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
That's in the current one though,
That's,
I mean, it's
yeah,
covered
that should
current.
hit because we have to bring him back
before this.
now. Soon.
Yeah,
Soon,
right.
yeah.
So we better leave that, all of it.
Otherwise, we'll be back in court, and we don't wanna do that. Are we gonna move any, or are you gonna leave it at 50?
Well, I think
50?
leave it.
50.
Leave it at 50? Okay.
Freeze it.
Yeah.
Okay, police, let's go down to Chuck's, because I think we did everything after
Poor
that.
Chuck's been sitting here patiently waiting.
Basically.
Hey, I told him be here at 6 o'clock, look at
Yep.
5 minutes after,
That's
7
right.
minutes after. Did I give you a right time, Chuck?
Would everybody entertain the idea though of continuing, once Chuck gets through his, where we left
Well, we
off?
have to go to the Capitol for, what I have in there for the, for the
Oh.
administrative part, like for Village Hall, like the steps, the parking lot, all of
Okay.
that kind of stuff. So we gotta take a look at that,
Okay.
okay? So we still have, we still have work to do.
I still have some questions about revenue.
Yeah, okay, we can go through revenue too. Let's see, Chuck.
I'm good till 10 o'clock tonight, man.
Good for you.
Yeah, exactly, good for you.
Blah-blah-dee-da.
Okay. Zoning.
Zoning. 12, 16,
Okay, now, just so that everybody knows, there is an assumption. Let me see, I don't know why I don't move that thing while we're working on it, but I did.
But the extra personnel. is
Yeah, the
good.
extra, we
Yeah.
have a part-time person.
Two
in there.
part-timers,
There we go. I'm sorry?
2 part-timers we said, remember?
No, I
One
don't put
inspection
in
and
there.
one clerk. One for inspections, so we can catch up with our inspections.
I only put one in
You
there.
only
I
put
only have
one?
910 hours of part-time clerk. The problem with putting 2 part-timers in there, you'll get a grievance right out of the box, because what you're doing is you're subplanning part-time people for
Instead of
full-time
full-time.
people. It's a full-time
I thought I
job.
should try it.
They'll argue full-time job, 2 part-timers should get out, and then full-timers should go.
And it could be next year, but I
It'd
thought.
probably be better to do a split.
Right, that's what I thought, because they're gonna do different jobs, and we need desperately both.
Mm-hmm.
We certainly cannot afford 2 full-timers there, and
Right.
probably we don't need them. I mean, maybe next year, 1 full-time person can do both jobs, but at this point, that was my thought.
I have a problem with any part-time employees in the village. I think it's a maneuver to avoid paying benefits. So I oppose part-time jobs as a matter of principle.
As a matter of principle, I agree. Yes, 100%.
As a matter of actual financial standings, we can do what we can only can do. I would love, in a
don't-
perfect world with proper funding, you can do all kinds of additions of permanent employees.
I don't realize the poverty that you seem to think you live in.
I just look at employee benefits and everything that, employee costs do not ever go down, they go up with full-time employees. They never go down, so I'm looking down the road of what our big expenditures are throughout the village, and adding full-time personnel on any line can have a pretty big effect on your costs.
Yeah,
But
not to
the
mention-
costs are designed to produce benefits, for the citizens. That's the point. And the point that we're here is to see that, in fact, that the funds are appropriated to provide the maximum benefit for the majority of the citizens, with special regard for minorities.
I don't think anybody's disagreeing with you, Mike.
I hope not. So,
But the department needs help for sure. I mean, that's
Yeah, that's for sure.
for sure.
At the very
Just-
least, a clerk.
At least the clerk, yes.
Just to give you an idea what the village paid, and I'm just gonna throw this out there. For family coverage and health care, $28,000 a year.
Per person, per family.
Per
For
family.
family.
Yeah. Two person is 18,000, one person is almost 9,000. So that's kind of roll-up that you get with full-time people, just as a side note. I'm not disagreeing.
And those
with
costs do
anybody.
not ever go down. Insurance
No.
has never gone down,
Not
pension
healthcare.
costs, everything.
Healthcare is just one of those things that is expensive. Okay, then we get into their supplies. Chuck, you had 5,000 that you requested,
Right.
and the mayor cut 500, you're at 4,500.
Yeah, I was hoping to get a new computer. Our computers are very old. And I was I wanted 500, and I was gonna pay the difference for a new computer. Larry's is the one that Larry used is shot. Steve is having problems with his. Mine was updated probably about 5 years ago. I got the newest one, and that was probably just before I came here. So that's, 5 years, 4 or 5 years now. So we're in need of another good, fast computer.
Yeah.
So, and I would split half of it. I mean, that's why I went up 500 instead of, 1,000 or something. I would suffer through the year and pay for the other half of it out of my supply budget.
Use laptops out in the field? No, all paper and clipboards?
Pardon me?
Use paper and clipboards when you go out in the field? You don't have any laptop?
Yeah, we can't afford. We can't afford a laptop. Laptop? What's that?
So if we
It's
got
called
them a
paper and
laptop, it could
pencil.
be universal. Okay.
So,
No,
Sorry.
no, not that.
Coming out of your line.
Fine.
that's right.
I got a big one.
Yeah, I know you do.
I don't know where it is.
Are we,
Okay, with the 4,500,
Yes.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Chuck's gonna make us money this year.
So we're staying at the 4,500?
yeah, stick with that? Yeah, yeah.
For now.
I think, Chuck, did you, well, maybe not. No. Okay. Because I don't know why we got that much in the phone and,
Utility.
yeah.
Well, because I get reimbursed $120 a year because I don't use a cell phone, a village cell phone. And my predecessor had one, but I never took it. I thought Steve, because Steve and I are in constant communications on cell phones, I wanted to get Steve the same reimbursement for his, because he uses his own. But I found out that he's in a union, so we can't do it for him.
We can get him a phone.
So
So what does that 660 represent? If total, if you have 120 and he can't have the reimbursement, is that for a cost of a new phone or something?
no,
Difference?
it's just for it's $10 a month for the cost of my phone. When I
What's
leave
yours,
here,
yes?
my phone number's on the door, so I get phone calls right through the evening. Or Steve's on the road, and I'm not here. If I'm on the road, if people come in and see we're not here, they'll call me on my phone. And now people don't even call the office; they just call my phone all the time.
Well, I understand that, but just the difference between the 660 and 120.
I don't know where the 660
What's that?
is.
Oh.
What's this?
I budgeted 120.
Okay, you want to change that to 120? Oh,
Where's
we have
660 then?
540 in there for some reason that we added 540.
Yeah, that's what I'm asking, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know why.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't.
Okay.
All right, we'll take it out.
There's your computer.
That's what I'm wondering.
I mean, I didn't know if it was for something particular, but that's,
That might be what that was.
It used to be 700, and then a couple years ago we took it away because I never knew what that 700 was for. We don't pay for any of our phone service in our office or internet.
Mhm.
So if you look back to 3 or 4 budgets, it used to be, there was $700 allocated, and then I asked for just 120, and then the rest of it can go back to the village.
so if there's an issue with Steve and his phone, you just said if need be, the village would
Yeah.
purchase a flip phone or whatever,
Mhm.
or whatever.
And then we get into travel and training. I think you bumped that up for a reason, huh, Chuck?
I did, mostly because we've got Steve who's new, so there's a lot of training that he's gonna have to take. He's certified, but there's still a lot of training out there that he's gonna have to really train for the next couple of years to get really up to speed. Plus, we have new zoning board and planning board members, and I think our zoning board members come out of there, and they're required to do training. So, and a lot of it's all down in Olean and stuff. So it's a lot of travel time and evenings and stuff like that. Western Southern Tier, we're not members of Southern Tier West planning, so it costs us a lot more when we do their training and stuff. My building officials pay for me because I'm the president of our building officials, so what the village pays for me is very minimal. I think just my conference in September, but we also have Steve now that has to be, that has to be paid for too, and that's $300, for the week, which is required. 24 hours in service is required by law. So we just bumped it up a little bit.
Okay. Okay. And then you got your contractual. That's the board stipends and copier service contract.
Yeah, all my programs are NFPA codes, which we split with the fire department because they use the same codes as we do, so it's like $700 each for the year. BAS for our building programs and modules. It's the maintenance is up to $1,500 now, is what they're going to bill us this year. And then I have the NFPA codes, the NFPA, and then there's another NFPA code that we have that we're part of. So by the time you get into all those organizations, it's close to 4,000.
Okay. Gas is just gas on the car. And I know Steve's using it a lot more than it was used in the past.
Yeah, I'm worried about that number because we've already put new brake lines in it and everything else. So I'm hoping that we can limp through this year on that number.
Well, yeah, that would be on the maintenance line.
Right.
Yeah, that's just money going into the car. It's an old car. What year is that? It's an old car.
97, 98.
I was gonna say, that's pretty.
The Saturn out here?
Yeah,
the
it was
Saturn.
a drug car. They confiscated it at a drug.
It was a nice
bust.
car. at some
Oh yeah,
point.
yeah, yeah. I mean, in the day it's very nice, you know. But from
You should get one
sitting
with
and
race cars too.
Huh?
You should get one with race cars too.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, that's what we're doing usually. Police cars.
And then we go into the planning area. $250 in supplies, just all of the paper and stuff like that.
right.
Ink for your printers, and things like that. Let's see, we appropriated 225, we're at 262 now. So that's-
Yeah, I went over a little bit on that.
Yeah, that's gonna be in the ballpark. So. And if it does go over, it's not gonna be by much. Make a budget transfer. Travel training there also, $450.
And your members.
That's for your board members, John?
That's for the, yeah, and they're all, again, they're required to have a certain amount of hours training. So then we have another new member, so they'll get probably extra training. Whenever there's extra training out there, he'll get extra training. I want to get him caught up to speed with, you know, what goes on in the planning world and stuff.
A lot of your training done at Southern Tier West?
Yeah.
They do a lot of it, right?
Yeah, sometimes I try to put a program on in Mayville with our building officials. We did one a couple of years ago for all the planning and zoning board members, and we didn't charge them for it. But it cost us, we fed them dinner and everything, so it cost us a ton of money. So I almost got shot for that. Almost got impeached.
And then 7,500?
A lot of money.
Oh, that was the updated, the comprehensive.
Yeah, I left the 7,500 that we had last year. We put that in there last year and never used it, and then I just rolled it over. So hopefully one of these days we'll get that master plan updated.
Again, the 7,500, like Kara had said earlier in the night, if you don't spend that, that just rolls over into your fund balance. So all he's doing is really moving it to the next year. He won't spend it this year, but he'll spend it next year. Did you ever get a hold of that lady, Ellen, or whatever her name
No, after the last time when the board couldn't, you know, agree on paying her, I just,
is? Uh-huh.
I'm like a fool.
Yeah.
I mean, we really have to do it if we need, you know, when we apply for grants and everything, they need to see that.
Yeah,
If we have an old man, they won't consider it.
I think she should really come in and sit and talk to the board,
Yeah.
and the board, you know, get a number from the board.
Mhm.
Because she's getting tired of me calling her and say, okay, so what's it gonna cost this time? And then,
It's
and then
on
it
purpose.
falls through, and then I call her 6 months later, says, oh yeah, so now what are you gonna charge this time? So really, I think that maybe
You're
we
right,
should just
yes,
have like
no,
a
you're
work
right.
session where she comes in, or Wendell doesn't even be here, it'd be maybe like Wendell, their VP or something, or,
The reasons it fell through is because we didn't have a proper amount appropriated for that?
right, yeah, because the trustees at that time could agree on splitting the money.
I hope so.
I mean, it was adopted, it just, it never was updated.
It was adopted 2011.
Hmm?
2011.
Right. So, and I probably put in about 5 calls through that time and kept getting different numbers from her because there was different things that we wanted. So then when we decided we wanted the whole document updated, which it should be updated now. Really, it's something that maybe even be more than 7,000, but at least it'll start. And right now, I don't think the planning board has that expertise to sit and really update that document. That's a pretty important document and stuff, and should be done professionally because developers and contractors are looking at that. You know, you're when you go for grants, you're looking at that. You know, so you want it done professionally. You don't want it done haphazardly.
Okay. That's it for Chuck. And then we could go to we'll go to the capital project, okay, because there's, you know, stuff there for
bare bones.
that we haven't looked at yet.
So it's under the capital fund.
Thank you, Chuck.
Yes, thank you.
Thanks, Chuck.
Thank you.
Thank you. That program I will take later. I will,
Okay.
computer now.
Go back in your office so we can make all the cuts that they're gonna make.
Slash.
Okay. So really, it's the Village Hall parking lot. Okay, that's the $130,000. That's
Can't
gonna
see
be
how we're gonna do that, but anyways.
That's gonna be a bond. Again, it was said, I believe, when Brad was here about the damage that's being done to the building and downstairs, the walls on the inside, because the water is actually flowing toward the building and not away from the building, so, and the lot is in terrible shape. We patch it every year, but it doesn't hold. No, it doesn't hold.
And of course, we just need one person to fall,
Exactly.
and then
Wipe everything out.
we'll pay much more, but I don't even believe 130,000 is gonna be enough.
I had the same feeling. By the time you stripe it and put
No,
those
honest-
bumpers in there and all that stuff, it's gonna be a lot of money. But it's a bond, okay, so it's a bonded project. So it's really not, again, this is just
Not
for
for
this
this
year,
year,
it's
yeah.
not impacting you this year, it's impacting you in future years. Okay, and then we got the steps out in front. Everybody walks by there. I had no idea what to put there. I got 50,000 in there. I'm hoping that that's enough. It's just grabbing a number from the air. I really don't know. I'm waiting for that Matt Graves to give us an estimate on that. I still haven't gotten one, so.
Are we kind of looking at both sides, or walking up the other side, you see kind of openings already starting on the other
Rick
side?
was saying
Yeah, the
so
whole
they're
thing
gonna
have to
lift
do
it
it.
all out.
We have
and
to
put in
redo
new
the whole
supports
thing.
All
Yeah.
through it.
Yeah, everything has to come down,
Yeah.
because
whole-
the foundation of that is all.
Right. All the way
rotten.
up to the top, platform up on top, that's all gonna have to be removed.
I'm hoping we can salvage that,
Yeah,
the somehow.
yeah.
Is there any other concrete contractor or anything?
Well, there's
Carapella.
Carapella.
Carapella does that kind of work.
Matt-
And
Matt's-
what's his name would do it, Tabone
Yes.
would do it.
At this point, if Matt's not getting back to you, and it's been quite some time already, I think,
Yeah, he came last fall and took a look at it, but we didn't have the step out. So he was trying to look in one of those spaces to see what was going on underneath, and he couldn't see. And then I had the street department come down, pull the step out, and then that exposed everything, but he never got
Came
back.
back.
He also, I don't know if everybody remembers, I sent around, because he was also told about the Hamlet Street sign going into the park. He was gonna rebuild that. I sent everybody.
I sent you my
The brick.
preference.
Yeah, looking for preferences on the type of stone you want it to
Right.
look like or whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, he said you could do the brick again, but, he said that, this stuff is newer and, they
But the
build the
village is brick.
foundation.
The village is brick, that's my thing.
Yeah.
Most of the things in the
Yeah.
village is brick.
Yeah, so.
well, if he doesn't get back to you in a certain amount of time here, can you just contact either Tabone or Carapella?
Uh-huh.
Because, I mean,
Yeah,
I don't want
it
somebody
needs to get done. I mean,
Yeah, this
Yeah,
is-
we can't continue to do what we're doing there. That's just ridiculous. There was somebody over at the church over here, the Presbyterian Church, doing work. They were like a restoration company and they were doing their steps, and I asked them to come over and give me a price on it and get anything from
Carapella
them.
didn't give us a price either, because he said, I'm not gonna be able to do it anyways.
Uh-huh,
Remember,
yeah.
he came after we took
Yeah,
that out.
yeah.
Yeah.
What the hell do you want?
I got lost.
I know, we know all about it. We know,
Unfortunately.
we got written up by OSHA on that one, so we're. And then we have $14,000 in there, we talked about the appraisal update. I mean, that's something that should be done. I mean, if you cut it, you will still get the reports, but they just won't be certified as being correct. You'll still
But
get.
I'm kind of afraid of that because you never know if
I
you
know.
go back for this, if something happened and you go back,
Mhm.
and then you don't have the exact reports.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, you're right. I mean, if you have a large loss, and then let's say this building burns down and they don't have the correct stuff that we have in here and stuff, yeah, I mean, you could be out in the cold.
In addition to things that were taken out of service, well, you know what comes in, so that probably is not a big deal, but, yeah. I mean, it's been 15 years, it's
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
There could be a great number that of vehicles and equipment and different things we're insuring that could cut our
That's
costs
fine.
down.
Yeah, that's fine, yeah. Yeah. Okay, and then there's just the Barker Common grant. And that's all we have in the capital side.
No, we were gonna relook at local access cable. I don't know, it was now a good time. We're at the
doing
end.
that, Sure.
There was different things that can be done if we get more viewers, and to get more viewers, you need to upgrade some things. Chip was talking to myself and Roger after last meeting about, not sponsors, but underwriters to the program and helping defer the costs of the programs and putting money back into this department. So my thought is, we're under, like currently last year, we upgraded the amount that we allocated to them, and we're able to start streaming online, and we're able to watch us now either live or look on YouTube later on and can view our meetings. So I think we're all about communication here. We're trying to be transparent and communicate with our residents, so I kind of believe that this is kind of something to look at. And when Chip did his presentation, he gave us a bare bones of maybe $5,000, which would be an increase of $2,500 here. So I don't know if this would be a time to re-discuss that. Anybody would like to, or I guess we'll move on if there's no other discussion here.
Want to say
Any thoughts
something,
on it?
Chip?
Doug said what we discussed. We're trying to increase in our viewer range. I did discuss them about underwriting, so that's a process we've been trying to start. So that process can start working harder on that, get that underwriting done. So the following year, but it takes a little starter money to make that start to just understand. So we're just trying to get the process. We're looking at, we do multiple events, and they seem to be grabbing more and more events. We'll be doing the roundabout this weekend. Your budgetary meetings we've done. That takes a lot of time, a lot of stuff. So a lot of locations that we're looking at doing different. So, and some of that equipment that was issued there was actually for some of the live feeds, so that we can actually do some more remotes, allow us to do remote locations. Right now we have just basic equipment. If something fails here, the streamer, the camera, or whatever, that's what was the water. I'm out. We wouldn't be able to stream. We still would be able to live, but on the cable access. But the streaming side, we lose that side of it. And I just got an email the other day mentioning about how our streaming has been doing, an increasement of people, personnel. And, let me just grab it real quick here. We had Here's How Your Channel's done this month. We had 7 uploads, minutes watched, over 1,800 minutes watched, subscribers 4. We added 4 more subscribers for our system. average, I don't have the average watching, but we keep growing every week. More and more people watching, more and more people grabbing the channel.
That's great.
So,
No, so they're watching that on the computer instead of watching it on TV? Is that what you're thinking?
yeah,
'cause
but
of
at the
you.
same time,
People want to see you.
people are watching on TV too. We're hoping that more and more people are watching it. Can't give you a decision on how many watch on TV, but we'd love to. We do both, so with obligations for either on TV.
Okay, so my question is, this $2,500, what's this for as opposed to what's in your the budget that you submitted?
We originally submitted 16 was the original submit.
For this or for the,
For everything.
For everything, for everything was
Okay.
$16,000.
I'm sorry, you didn't get the paper. We originally submitted at 16, and the last budgetary meeting, I told the board, 5 was right around what we could get down into, and get a lot of equipment that we, the microphones in this system, that didn't include TV, but I mean, I'm sure Roger's willing to donate one maybe.
Yeah, I'm waiting for one to come in.
Okay, so,
I got some garbage bags for the police chief, if he needs more for the upcoming weekend.
there you go. It'll be at the end of the month when we have.
Gloves and garbage bags came in.
The annual spread, I see you say. So we're, some of that equipment is just to agree, this part of that package was just the microphones and a PA system, so people who can't hear, like this gentleman over here, would be able to hear you. I hear you great because I wear a pair of headphones and I hear every word, but it gives an opportunity to give us some speakers.
We're cutting your budget.
You
You heard that.
Yeah.
okay, so you asked for 16, so according to the budget as it stands, there's 4,100 and then the 2,500, right?
We just want to increase it.
What was that, Karen?
Is this
That's the
25?
capital, but then you're looking at the, my budget for
Supplies.
supplies.
Right,
That's different.
right, so what exactly is it for, I guess what I'm,
The
so,
contractual?
so for
Was
the
it different
$2,500, you're
between the
looking at
contractual
what?
and
This is what we had to list of.
Okay. Oh, all this stuff, okay.
Yeah. That would
That's
be-
the that's the capital
That's the
stuff.
capital
Right,
money.
okay, I gotcha.
The other side is just supplies, miscellaneous supplies.
Okay.
Miscellaneous supplies,
And then the rest of it is him
yeah,
for his salary,
Okay,
which.
his stipend.
Stipend.
okay,
Overpaid.
That would be good,
I
actually.
gotcha.
Hear that, Chip?
No.
Good.
I'm okay with increasing it.
Test, 1, 2, check,
I think
check.
that would be
I can hear
good.
you, but you know what the worst part about it is when you guys tap on the dang, on the.
Did he do this?
Yeah, that.
Oh, really? Good to know that.
So are we looking
When
at
you're falling
increasing
asleep
it? Are we
with that
thinking
away,
of
yeah.
increasing it?
The original.
I could squeak my pen.
They also hear that on TV too.
Right. Oh, yeah, we can't do that. But I'm okay with
So,
upping it to,
you guys, you up for increasing his, by 2,500?
Well, we're going to hold his feet to the fire and getting some people in here to,
Well, yeah, I mean, I've been trying for years. I mean, Chris, Tara's been on our board meetings, so we're always trying to grab more and more people. I've got my daughter.
well, I'm also talking about what we talked about earlier. I mean, we can't call them sponsors, but we could call them,
We can do underwriters.
Right.
And I'll tell you right now, underwriters is just, this incident right now is a board right up there.
right.
And you get somebody to underwrite this show.
I don't, Kara, do you understand what the underwriters are? They're kind of like a,
right, it's a sponsor.
of a certain event, or we could do some taglines, we can do a couple of different things, and that might generate a little extra revenue to offset some of the costs that we can improve some of his equipment.
Just as long as you don't overdo it.
Right.
And
Well, we want to get a big giant 40 by 80 banner.
it's not only that. you
Show
know,
me the
it's-
money.
You know
Well,
how,
like this village board meeting sponsored by,
Yeah, you could put
It just
something
keeps
out there.
flashing.
LED would be great, you know, I'm just kidding. No, just a basic, simple sign. Yeah, okay. A simple, I've done ones where we've done meetings where we've just had a small, small 2x2 sign. It says, brought that advertisement, they're underwriting. And we'd have to sit down with the cable board and discuss what kind of costs
right.
would be for different events.
I mean, you're not thinking about in here, right? Not the village board meeting.
Yes, the village board meeting would be underwrite.
How is gonna look that to
I'm not
to the
sure. Can we
people
do that?
of the village?
That's not
To the
legal.
residents?
I'd like to see him do more with the remotes, the other things.
Right, like the
Right,
games
Right, that's
and
kind of where I was hoping to
Right.
go
Remotes
with
are fine,
this.
but here, to
Yeah,
put
no.
it, it's.
stuff in the gazebo and whatnot.
In between workshop and meeting, you may want to do a little flash
Little
across the screen,
ad.
but other than that, I think.
No, what I'm saying is you wouldn't have to have it here, it could be put down here, and I could go to that camera shot and show that. You know what I mean?
I just, personally, I don't like the idea of connecting this thing, which is a governmental
Mhm.
process, to this comes to
To an
you
ad,
by,
right.
you know, so-and-so.
That's fine.
That's-
Yeah, I wouldn't do it during a village board meeting, but I think at other events it
Other
would be okay.
events, that's fine.
For sure.
Kind of where we wanted to go with it anyway.
I will tell you, I've done underwriting for not just access, but the other access. It's a full-time job. It's a full-time going out,
Well, that's my concern.
and it's a
Do we have
full-time
Who's gonna
job.
do this?
That's the problem.
Yes, we do.
I have a full-time job, and so does a lot of other people, so it's a kind of a difficult task. It's not unreasonable, but it's a task that takes a little bit of time in trying to line up different people.
Right, and the people on the cable advisory board spend a lot of time and effort and energy on other things already as it is. They're very dedicated and
Yeah.
spend lots of time, for example, negotiating with Spectrum has been a whole issue. So I just, my concern, I think it's a great idea, but implementing it to me seems like it's going to be difficult.
So what you're saying, let's not overspend in this in order to do something that we're probably not gonna be able to achieve. That if it's gonna be
No,
that
I'm
much
not saying
cost.
you're not gonna achieve it. The point is you're not gonna see, if you're saying this situation right now not being underwritten is fine. The little events that we do, like we'll say, the roundabout, that could be underwritten. That show could be underwritten by any organization. So if your business wanted to sponsor that situation.
There you go.
Your business would be the sponsor of that.
That's easy.
And
I found one.
Underwriting, understand underwriting, under the law on underwriting, you're only allowed 3 times in a program to say it. One is in the beginning, one is at the end, and one in the middle, depending on the length of the program. So if you have a 15-minute program, you're not going to do it 3 times. You're going to do it 2 things. If you have a half-hour program, you're going to try to do it 3 times. You can't put it on all the time. It has to be something that's put on a little bit.
Right.
So a shot of that, if you were doing this event, we'll say, it wouldn't be on all the time, it would be something we'd shoot to at the end of the performance, the end of the meeting. We would go to that shot for a little bit, and that would be the end of it. It wouldn't be anything you would see all the time, it wouldn't be on the board all the time, it'd just be the 3 times. One at the beginning, one at the end, and possibly the middle based on time.
Okay.
So,
So does the board want to add 25, or?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
I'm
do.
good with 25.
Sure.
Like I said, I just don't feel the whole hog, because it's gonna be added costs to get to doing what, you
yeah,
know,
it's good.
there's gonna be,
There's gonna be, you know,
so, but.
I don't think you're gonna see a big cost to do that. It's just a time issue.
Right, well.
It's getting it off the ground. It takes a
Right.
while.
Right.
It's
Yeah,
not
the
something
work.
that happens tomorrow.
But this
Unless
is-
you wanna donate
but-
now, then we'll gladly put it on.
But this is a start to get moving in the right direction.
Mike, did you have a certain section you wanted to look
Yeah,
at? for
revenues for general fund.
General? Okay. That's where we are, general fund revenue.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I mean, if the board wants to go line by line, we can do that. I mean, that's whatever you want to do.
I have some
Or-
specific questions
Okay.
on a
yeah,
few
go
things. Under departmental income,
ahead. Okay.
registrar fees for vital statistics.
Uh-huh.
So I see that's,
Mostly death certificates.
yeah, roughly $1,400. It's my understanding that these fees are paid to the registrar.
Right.
So this is additional income that isn't salary. So it depends just on the number of vital events during the year, which is
Correct, right.
births and deaths.
That's correct.
Okay,
So that's a, it's a swag number, you just
Right, and you don't issue marriage certificates?
No.
The
no,
town
no.
of Pomfret issues marriage certificates, and that's a
Right. Well,
major
like I said, mostly
source of
death
income
certificates.
for the town clerk.
Yep,
Under use of money and property,
yep.
interest earnings.
Uh-huh.
And my question is, what is the principal invested in to produce the interest?
It's
How is
what?
the principal invested?
The principal's invested in, I'm trying to think of the name of the company. We have mostly, they're just basically bank accounts that are getting that.
Savings bank
that
accounts, is
interest.
it?
Yep, that's
Okay.
basically what they are, but there are, I'm trying to think of the name of the place. Drawing a blank. Um,
Municipal Investor Services?
no.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, MBI class?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep, that's it, MBI A class, and that's something that's approved by the comptroller's office for investment in, and that's where we put most of our money.
Mhm. Okay,
And you can see the interest rates are going way up, I mean, you know, compared to where we were. They're, I won't say way up, but they're up substantially from where they were
Yeah.
starting, you know, back in 2008, 2009, when the market crashed.
right. Okay, under licenses and permits,
Uh-huh.
electrical and plumbing licenses,
Yep.
and who issues those
Chuck.
licenses?
Chuck,
Okay.
building inspector.
Uh,
You have a committee or something, Chuck?
We have an electrical committee that meets and approves all electricians in the village.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Okay.
Is there a plumbing committee too?
Yeah, I think.
Yeah, you have plumbers, yeah.
What's that? The plumbing committee?
How were these people picked?
How are they what?
How were they selected for membership on the
I
committee?
think they request a license from the building inspector's office.
Are you talking about the board themselves?
I'm talking about the boards. Yeah.
The boards are appointed by
Oh.
the mayor. And each of them have been here for many, many years.
Okay, how about a board of health? Does the village have a board of health? Because the charter speaks about a board of health.
No, we don't have a board of
That would be referred to
county, yeah.
It's in the village charter.
Yeah, but we don't have one.
Should the charter be revised to eliminate that if we don't have a board of
I
health?
apologize, I don't know
doesn't.
that, yeah.
Okay. Under sale of property, other loss compensation, hyphen 207A and C.
Mm-hmm.
What does that mean?
Those are police and fire workers' compensation programs under state law, under section 207A and 207C of state law.
Okay.
And what it is, if somebody gets hurt, they get regular workers' comp, and then the village makes up the difference between what their normal salary would be and what the workers' comp paid.
Okay.
Okay?
Where are we?
Okay, that's what I had.
Jumping all over.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Yep. Does anybody have any questions about, did you want to look at the revenue in more detail, or are you okay with it, or?
So there's one question with the bingo
Yep.
licenses. I totally have not heard about bingo in Fredonia in the last 10 years. I'm surprised that we've received $538 for,
I think there's one or two in the village at this point.
Would it be
Is
the
it
churches?
Legion? Does the
St.
Legion-
Joe's.
Churches.
Might just be St. Joe's.
Might just be St. Joe's.
It might be. Yeah, you're right, though. I mean, I used to be all over the place, but,
That bingo revenue line might include toll
games of chance?
toll tax
Yeah.
payments at the Legion, the Beaver Club.
Mhm.
So I think you're seeing a number that is actually 3 entities that are paying into it. Because I sign off on those. I did the background check and sign off on them.
Martin doing
Okay?
Yes, thank you.
Anybody else have anything else on the revenue side, or? Is there any place else you want to go at this point, or
it? Not tonight.
Not tonight?
not tonight? Okay.
You sure?
Mm-hmm. Give me a break.
We good?
You want a break?
Okay.
When's our next big budget meeting?
Yeah, yeah, why don't we set those out there? When we're gonna meet again?